The cold darkness of space stretched endlessly in all directions. Among the countless stars and distant planets, a small research ship called the Horizon's Promise moved slowly through an asteroid field. Inside the ship, Captain Hyun-woo sat in his medical bay, reading reports on his datapad. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his tired eyes showed he had been working for many hours without rest. The ship's alarm suddenly beeped. Hyun-woo looked up from his work. The sound was not loud or scary, just a soft beeping that meant the ship's sensors had found something unusual. He stood up and walked to the bridge where his 2 crew members were working. Dr. Jizu, the ship's scientist, was staring at her screens with a confused look on her face. She was a woman in her 30s with short black hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. Next to her sat Taeyong, the young pilot who was only 23 years old. His fingers moved quickly over the controls as he kept the ship steady among the floating rocks. "What is it?" Hyun-woo asked as he entered the bridge. Jizu pointed at her screen. "There's a heat signature coming from that asteroid over there. It's big, and it's warm. That shouldn't be possible. These asteroids are supposed to be dead and cold." Hyun-woo moved closer to look at the screen. The asteroid she pointed to was large and covered with strange blue crystals that seemed to glow softly in the darkness. According to the sensors, something inside the asteroid was giving off heat, like a living creature. "Maybe it's just some kind of mineral reaction," Taeyong suggested. He was trying to sound calm, but his voice showed he was curious and a little nervous. "No," Jizu said, shaking her head. "This heat pattern looks organic, like something alive, but there's nothing supposed to be living out here." Hyun-woo felt something strange in his chest. It was a feeling he had learned to trust over the years. Something was wrong on that asteroid, and whatever it was needed help. He had felt this feeling before, many times, and it had never been wrong. "Take us down," Hyun-woo said quietly. Both Jizu and Taeyong turned to look at him with surprise on their faces. "Captain, we're not supposed to land on uncharted asteroids," Jizu reminded him. "The regulations say we need to report it first and wait for approval." "I know what the regulations say," Hyun-woo replied. His voice was gentle but firm. "But if something is alive down there, it might not have time for us to wait for approval. Take us down, Taeyong." The young pilot looked at Jizu, then back at Hyun-woo. After a moment, he nodded and began guiding the ship toward the asteroid surface. Jizu sighed but didn't argue anymore. She had worked with Hyun-woo for 3 years now, and she knew that when he got that look in his eyes, there was no point in trying to change his mind. The Horizon's Promise landed gently on the crystal-covered surface of the asteroid. The blue crystals crunched under the ship's landing gear. Through the windows, the crew could see that the crystals were everywhere, creating a strange and beautiful landscape that glowed with soft light. Hyun-woo, Jizu, and Taeyong put on their spacesuits and checked their equipment. Hyun-woo made sure to bring his medical kit. It was a large case filled with all kinds of medicines and tools for treating injuries. He never went anywhere without it. They left the ship and walked carefully across the crystal surface. The gravity on the asteroid was very weak, so each step made them bounce slightly. The crystals made soft clinking sounds under their boots. After walking for about 10 minutes, they found a large cave entrance. The heat signature was coming from deep inside. "Stay close," Hyun-woo said as he turned on his helmet light and walked into the cave. The cave was huge. The walls, floor, and ceiling were all covered with the same glowing blue crystals. The light from these crystals was enough to see by, creating a strange blue world that felt like being underwater. As they went deeper, the cave got warmer, much warmer than it should be. Then they heard it, a sound that made all 3 of them stop walking. It was crying, small, frightened crying, like children sobbing. Hyun-woo's heart began to beat faster. He moved forward quickly, following the sound. Jizu and Taeyong hurried to keep up with him. They turned a corner in the cave, and then they all stopped and stared at what they saw. In the middle of a large crystal chamber, a massive creature lay on the ground. It was like something from an old Earth legend, a dragon. The creature was as big as their ship, with scales that shimmered with colors of purple and silver. But these beautiful scales were burned and damaged. Dark wounds covered the dragon's body, and strange green liquid leaked from the injuries. The smell of burned flesh filled the air, even through their helmet filters. 3 small creatures huddled against the dragon's side. They were baby dragons, each one about the size of a large dog. Their scales had not fully grown yet, and Hyun-woo could see soft, pink skin showing through in places. They had tiny wings folded against their backs, and their large eyes were filled with tears. When the baby dragons saw the three humans, they pressed themselves against their mother and made crying sounds. Their small voices were high and scared. The mother dragon opened one large eye. It was a beautiful golden color, but it looked tired and full of pain. She tried to lift her head, but she was too weak. Instead, she moved one of her large wings to cover her babies, trying to protect them. "Please don't hurt us," one of the baby dragons cried out. The words came out in broken universal standard, the language that most species use to communicate in space. "Please go away. Mommy is dying." Hyun-woo felt his heart break at those words. He had seen many sad things in his years as a ship's doctor, but hearing these terrified children beg for their lives was almost too much to bear. Jizoo grabbed Hyun-woo's arm. Her face was pale inside her helmet. "Captain, those are celestial drakes. I've only seen them in old books. Everyone thought they were extinct. Do you know what this means? These creatures are worth more money than we could earn in 100 lifetimes. The black market would pay billions for them." "I don't care about money," Hyun-woo said quietly. He was already opening his medical kit. "You should care about staying alive," Jizoo said urgently. "If celestial drakes are here, that means poachers have been here too. Those burns on the mother, those are from plasma weapons. Illegal ones. The kind used by the Obsidian Claw." The Obsidian Claw. Even Hyun-woo felt a chill when he heard that name. They were the most dangerous criminal organization in the known galaxy. They dealt in illegal weapons, drugs, and rare creatures. They were known for killing anyone who got in their way. No one who crossed the Obsidian Claw lived to tell about it. "Then we need to work fast," Hyun-woo said. He took off his helmet, ignoring Jizoo's shocked gasp. "Captain, what are you doing?" Taeyeon asked. Hyun-woo breathed in the cave air. It was warm and smelled like crystals and blood. He looked at the baby dragons and spoke in a soft, calm voice. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "I'm a healer, a doctor. I help people who are sick or hurt. Please, let me help your mother." The baby dragon stared at him with her large, frightened eyes. The mother dragon watched him too, her breathing slow and painful. Hyun-woo took a step forward, then knelt down on the crystal floor. He put his medical kit beside him and opened it slowly, showing the dragons that he had no weapons, just medicines and bandages and tools for healing. "Mama said humans are the monsters who take everything," the smallest baby dragon whispered. Its voice was so quiet that Hyun-woo almost didn't hear it. "But you have kind eyes." "Not all humans are monsters," Hyun-woo said gently. "Just like not all of any species are good or bad. I promise you, I only want to help." The mother dragon made a low sound in her throat. It was not angry or threatening. It sounded like she was trying to speak, but was too weak. After a long moment, she slowly moved her wing away from her babies, giving Hyun-woo permission to come closer. Hyun-woo stood up carefully and walked toward the injured dragon. Behind him, Jizoo and Taeyeon watched nervously, ready to run if something went wrong. But Hyun-woo wasn't afraid. He had made his choice the moment he heard the babies crying. He would save this family, no matter what it cost him. Hyun-woo knelt beside the massive dragon and carefully placed his hand on her scales. They were warm, warmer than they should be. Fever. The wounds were infected with something bad, probably radiation poisoning from the plasma weapons. His medical scanner confirmed what he feared. The poison was spreading through her blood, slowly killing her from the inside. "How bad is it?" Jizoo asked from behind him. She had come closer but still kept a safe distance. "Very bad," Hyun-woo said honestly. "The plasma burns have released radiation into her bloodstream. Our medical equipment isn't designed for Drake biology. I've never treated anything like this before." The three baby dragons watched him with wide, fearful eyes. They stayed close to their mother, their small bodies trembling. Hyun-woo could see dried tears on their faces. These children had been crying for a long time. "Can you save her?" the biggest baby dragon asked. Her voice was small and hopeful. Hyun-woo looked into the baby's eyes. They were silver, like a mother's scales. He wanted to promise that everything would be okay, but he had learned long ago never to make promises he might not be able to keep. "I will try my very best," he said instead. "What's your name?" The baby dragon hesitated, then said quietly, "My name is Hope. This is my brother Spark and my sister Shadow." Spark was slightly smaller than Hope, with scale that showed hints of red under the silver. Shadow was the smallest, with darker scales that looked almost black in the dim light. All three of them looked at Hyun-woo with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. "Those are beautiful names," Hyun-woo said with a gentle smile. "I'm Hyun-woo. I'm going to do everything I can to help your mother. But I need you to be brave and stay calm. Can you do that for me?" The three baby dragons nodded. Shadow moved a little closer and whispered, "Are you really going to help Mommy? Everyone else just heard us. They killed Daddy and our brothers and sisters. They took them away." Hyun-woo felt anger burning in his chest. Not anger at the babies, but anger at the monsters who had done this to an innocent family. He gently touched Shadow's small head. "I'm so sorry that happened to you," he said softly. "But I promise you, I'm different. I'm here to help, not to hurt." Taeyang's voice suddenly came through their communication devices. "Captain, I'm picking up ion trails. Ship engines were here recently. Very recently. Maybe 3 hours ago." 3 hours? That meant the poachers could come back at any moment. Hyun-woo's jaw tightened. He didn't have much time. "Jizu, I need you to help me," Hyun-woo said. "Scan the mother's biology. I need to understand how her body works so I can adapt our nanobots to help her." Jizu quickly set up her scanning equipment. The mother dragon, whose breathing was getting weaker, watched them work. Hyun-woo could feel her trying to communicate something, but he didn't understand. Then, suddenly, he felt strange warmth in his mind. Words appeared in his thoughts, but they weren't his words. "My name is Celestara," the voice in his mind said. It was weak and tired. "Why do you help us, human? Your kind usually only brings pain." Hyun-woo realized the dragon was speaking to him telepathically, through thoughts instead of words. He thought his response clearly in his mind, hoping she would hear. "Because you're a mother protecting her children. I can't stand by and watch you die when I have the ability to help." There was a pause. Then Celestara's voice came again. "You are strange. Different. I can feel your heart. There's old pain there. You have lost family too." Hyun-woo's hand stopped moving for just a second. Celestara was right. Many years ago, when he was young, the Obsidian Claw had attacked his home colony. They killed his parents and younger sister. He survived only because he hid in a medical supply closet. That day changed his life forever. He decided to become a doctor, to save lives instead of taking them, to be different from the monsters who destroyed his family. Yes, Hyun-woo thought back to Celestara. "I lost my family when I was young. I know what it feels like. That's why I can't let your children feel that same pain. Not when I can stop it." Celestara made a sound that might have been a sigh. "Then I will trust you, strange human with a kind heart. Do what you must." Jizu finished the scans and looked at the results with a worried face. "Captain, this is worse than we thought. The radiation has spread throughout her entire system. Her body is trying to fight it, but she's losing. At this rate, she has maybe 4 or 5 hours left." "That's not enough time," Taeyang said through the communicator. "Even if we call for help right now, the nearest medical station is 2 days away." "Then we work with what we have," Hyun-woo said firmly. He began programming their medical nanobots, tiny machines smaller than cells that could enter the body and repair damage. But they were designed for human biology, not dragon biology. He worked quickly, his fingers moving over his datapad as he tried to modify the nanobots to work with Celestara's different body chemistry. Jizu helped him, suggesting changes and improvements. The baby dragons watched quietly, occasionally whimpering when their mother groaned in pain. After an hour of intense work, Hyun-woo had a solution, but it was risky and dangerous. The nanobots needed a carrier, something to help them spread through Celestara's huge body quickly. The best carrier would be blood that was compatible with her system. "We need a blood sample from the babies," Hyun-woo said. "Their biology is the same as their mother's. If I can mix their blood with the nanobots and a catalyst, it might work." "Might," Jizu repeated. "Captain, what's the success rate?" "I don't know," Hyun-woo admitted. "I've never done anything like this before, but it's the only chance we have." Hope stepped forward. Take my blood. I'm the oldest. I'm stronger. No, take mine. Spark said, pushing past his sister. You can have mine, Shadow added quietly. Hyun-woo felt his eyes getting wet. These brave children were willing to give their blood to save their mother without hesitation. He carefully took a small blood sample from each of them, praising them for being so brave. But as he worked on mixing the blood with the nanobots, he realized there was another problem. The mixture needed more. It needed something with stronger genetic material to act as a bridge between the human technology and the Drake biology. There was only one option. His own blood. Captain, no, Jizzu said when she realized what he was planning. If you do this, you're mixing your DNA with alien DNA and experimental nanobots. We have no idea what that could do to you. I know the risks, Hyun-woo said. He rolled up his sleeve and prepared a needle. But Celestara doesn't have time for us to think of something safer. Before Jizzu could stop him, he inserted the needle into his arm and drew out a large amount of blood, much more than was safe. The room spun slightly, and he felt dizzy, but he forced himself to stay focused. He mixed his blood with the nanobots and the baby dragon's blood, creating a glowing blue liquid. This should work, he said, though his voice was weaker now. The nanobots will use my blood as instructions and the baby's blood as a map of Drake biology. Together, they should be able to fight the radiation. He loaded the mixture into a large injection device and approached Celestara. The great dragon watched him with her tired golden eyes. This will hurt, Hyun-woo warned her. But please, stay still. Celestara nodded slightly. Hyun-woo found a spot between her scales and carefully injected the glowing mixture. Celestara growled in pain, and the baby dragons cried out in worry, but she stayed still. For several long minutes, nothing happened. Hyun-woo checked his scanner again and again, looking for any sign that his treatment was working. His head felt light from losing so much blood, and Jizzu had to help him sit down. Then, slowly, the scanner showed something. The radiation levels in Celestara's blood were dropping. Just a little at first, then more and more. The nanobots were working. They were spreading through her body, carried by Hyun-woo's blood, using the baby's blood as a guide to understand Drake biology, and fighting the poison that was killing her. It's working, Jizzu whispered in amazement. Captain, it's actually working. The baby dragons jumped with joy, making happy chirping sounds. Hope ran to Hyun-woo and nuzzled against his leg. Thank you, she said. Thank you for saving our mommy. Hyun-woo smiled weakly and patted her head. But his smile faded when Taeyang's panicked voice came through the communicator. Captain, 3 ships just came out of hyperspace. They are heading straight for us. I think it's the poachers coming back. Everyone froze. The alarm on their suits began beeping loudly, warning them of the approaching danger. On his scanner, Hyun-woo could see 3 large ships surrounding the asteroid. They were trapped. The 3 poacher ships moved closer to the asteroid, their dark hulls blocking out the stars. Inside the crystal cave, Hyun-woo helped Jizzu pack up the medical equipment, while the baby dragons pressed close to their mother. Celestara was still weak, but the treatment was working. She could lift her head now, and her breathing was stronger. We need to get back to the ship, Jizzu said urgently. Maybe we can escape before they land. No, Taeyang's voice came through their communicators. They've already locked their weapons on the Horizon's promise. If we try to take off, they'll shoot us down immediately. Hyun-woo's mind raced. They were trapped between the crystal walls with an injured dragon and 3 terrified babies. The poachers would kill them all without hesitation. The obsidian claw never left witnesses alive. A cold voice suddenly spoke through the communication channel. It was harsh and angry, speaking in Universal Standard with an accent Hyun-woo didn't recognize. Attention, human vessel. This is Commander Vorgath of the hunting fleet. You have interfered with our property. Surrender the drakes immediately, and we might let you live. Hyun-woo looked at the 3 baby dragons huddled against their mother. Hope stared back at him with her silver eyes full of fear. These weren't property. They were children. A family. Jizzu grabbed his arm. Captain, we have to give them up. We can't fight 3 warships with a research vessel. They'll kill us all. No, Hyun-woo said quietly but firmly. I won't hand them over to be killed or sold. Then we'll die here, Jizu said, her voice shaking. Is that what you want? Hyun-woo picked up his communicator and pressed the button to respond. His heart was pounding, but his voice came out steady and strong. Commander Vorgath, this is Captain Hyun-woo of the Horizon's Promise. These drakes are now under human protection. Leave this area immediately or face the consequences. There was a moment of silence. Then Vorgatha's voice came back, filled with cruel laughter. Human protection? You fool. The nearest human military ship is 2 days away. You have a small research vessel with no weapons. I have 3 fully armed warships. What consequences could you possibly threaten me with? Hyun-woo looked at his datapad. Vorgath was right. They had no weapons and no way to fight. But he had one thing that might help. One desperate chance. Jizu, can you broadcast a signal on all frequencies? He asked quietly, including the restricted military channels. Jizu's eyes went wide. That's illegal, Captain. We could lose our licenses. We could go to prison. Better prison than dead, Hyun-woo replied, and better prison than living with a memory of abandoning innocent children to murderers. Jizu stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. She pulled out her equipment and began setting up the broadcast system. What are you planning? Taeyong asked through the communicator. I'm going to tell everyone what's happening here, Hyun-woo said. The whole galaxy will know about these poachers and what they've done. Maybe someone close by will help us. And if nobody comes? Jizu asked. Then at least we tried, Hyun-woo answered. Vorgatha's voice came through again. You have 5 minutes to comply. After that, we will destroy your ship and take the drakes by force. And we will make you watch as we kill the mother dragon in front of her children. Shadow whimpered at those words. Spark pressed closer to his mother, and Hope looked at Hyun-woo with desperate hope in her eyes. We can fight, Hope said suddenly. Mama taught us fire breath. We can help. Hyun-woo knelt down and gently touched Hope's head. You're very brave, little one, but you're too young. Your fire isn't strong enough yet. But we can't just hide, Hope insisted. Tears filled her eyes again. We're tired of hiding, tired of running, tired of watching bad people hurt Mommy. Celestar made a low sound in her throat. Hyun-woo felt her voice in his mind again, stronger now than before. The little one is right. We cannot keep running forever. I am tired, human Hyun-woo, so very tired. For thousands of years, my people have hidden from the galaxy because we were hunted and betrayed again and again. I thought there was no goodness left in the universe. But you have shown me I was wrong. You're getting stronger, Hyun-woo thought back to her. Rest. Save your strength. We'll find a way out of this. You risk everything for us. Celestar's telepathic voice was filled with wonder. You give your own blood. You face death without fear. Why? We are not your species. We are not your family. You're a mother protecting her children, Hyun-woo replied in his thoughts. That makes you exactly my family. Jizu finished setting up the broadcast equipment. Ready, Captain. Once I activate this, there's no going back. Hyun-woo took a deep breath. Do it. Jizu pressed a button. The signal went out across space in all directions, on every frequency. Emergency channels, news channels, military channels, everything. Hyun-woo had recorded a message that included video of the injured Celestar, the crying baby dragons, and evidence of the poachers' weapons. This is Captain Hyun-woo of the research vessel Horizon's Promise. We have discovered celestial drakes, a species thought to be extinct, being hunted by illegal poachers. The mother drake is severely injured, and 3 baby drakes are in danger. We are requesting immediate assistance. Our location is... The message repeated over and over, broadcasting into space. Within seconds, it would reach nearby ships. Within minutes, it would reach space stations. Within an hour, it would spread across the entire sector. Vorgath must have detected the broadcast because his voice came back filled with rage. You stupid human. You just signed your death warrant. Nobody will reach you in time to save you. The poacher ships began moving closer. Hyun-woo could see them on his scanner. They were preparing to attack. Get back to the ship. Hyun-woo told Jizu. Taeyong, prepare for evasive maneuvers. What about you? Jizu asked. I'm staying with Celestar and the babies. Hyun-woo said. They can't move fast enough yet. Go. That's an order. Jizu hesitated, then ran toward the cave entrance. Hyun-woo stayed with the dragons, holding his medical scanner like it was a weapon even though it was useless for fighting. The ground suddenly shook. The poachers were firing at something. Hyun-woo heard explosions in the distance. Then Taeyang's excited voice came through the communicator. Captain, a ship just came out of hyperspace. It's the Iron Crane, a human cargo freighter. They are positioning themselves between us and the poachers. Hyun-woo's heart jumped. Someone had heard his message. Someone had come to help. A new voice spoke on the communication channel. It was deep and gruff, the voice of an older man. This is Captain Minho of the Iron Crane. I heard your distress call, Captain Hyun-woo. No way I'm letting Obsidian Claw Scum hurt a fellow human who's trying to do the right thing. You're a cargo freighter, Vorgas said with contempt. You have no weapons. Move aside or be destroyed. Maybe I don't have weapons, Minho replied calmly, but my hull is reinforced for asteroid mining, and I've got more friends coming. As if responding to his words, more ships began appearing from hyperspace. Another freighter, a mining vessel, a passenger transport, a small trading ship. None of them were military vessels. They were all civilian ships, just ordinary people going about their business. But they had heard Hyun-woo's call for help, and they were coming. Within minutes, 7 ships had surrounded the asteroid, positioning themselves between the poachers and the Horizon's promise. They were all human vessels, piloted by humans who had decided to help a stranger in danger. Vorgetha's voice came through again, and this time he sounded uncertain. This is insane. You're all civilians. Why would you risk your lives for someone you don't even know? Captain Minho answered, and Hyun-woo could hear the smile in his voice. Because it's one of us. Because it's trying to protect innocent children. And because where we come from, you don't turn your back on people who need help. That's what it means to be human. The other ship captains voiced their agreement. They formed a defensive line, their ships creating a barrier between the poachers and their prey. Hyun-woo felt tears on his face. He had never met these people. He didn't know their names or where they came from. But they had risked everything to help him, to help the dragons. Hope looked up at him with wonder in her silver eyes. They came to help us. Why? Because some people choose to be good, Hyun-woo said softly, even when it's dangerous, even when it's hard. Celestar's voice filled his mind again. I have lived for thousands of years, and I have seen much evil in the galaxy. But today, I am seeing something I thought was lost forever. Hope. Real hope. Shadow and Spark made happy chirping sounds, and even Celestar managed to lift her head a little higher. But the battle was not over yet. Vorgath was not someone who gave up easily, and 3 warships were still more powerful than 7 civilian vessels. The standoff continued in the cold darkness of space. 7 civilian ships faced 3 heavily armed warships. On his scanner, Hyun-woo could see that the poachers had more firepower, better shields, and stronger weapons. But the human ships refused to move. Last warning. Vorgatha's voice growled through the communication channel. Move aside or we will open fire on all of you. We're not moving, Captain Minho replied firmly. You want those drakes. You'll have to go through every single one of us. Inside the crystal cave, Hyun-woo watched the scanner with growing worry. If Vorgath decided to attack, the civilian ships wouldn't last long. These were cargo haulers and mining vessels, not warships. The people piloting them were merchants and workers, not soldiers. They were brave, but bravery alone couldn't stop plasma cannons. Celestar stood beside him. The great dragon was growing stronger every minute as Hyun-woo's treatment continued to work. She could move her head freely now, and some color had returned to her scales. But she was still too weak to fight or fly. Your people are risking their lives for us. Celestar's voice spoke in Hyun-woo's mind. I do not understand. We are strangers to them, different species. Why would they do this? Because it's the right thing to do. Hyun-woo thought back to her. Humans have a saying. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. Hope, Spark, and Shadow watched the human scanner with wide eyes. They couldn't understand all the technical details, but they knew the brave people outside were there to help them. What's happening? Shadow asked quietly. Are the bad people going to hurt everyone? Before Hyun-woo could answer, something amazing began to happen. His communicator started receiving thousands of messages, hundreds of thousands, from all across the galaxy. Jizu's voice came through from the ship. Captain, our broadcast has gone everywhere. The entire galaxy is watching this. News stations, social media, government channels. Everyone knows what's happening here. Hyun-woo pulled up the message feeds on his datapad. Messages were pouring in from dozens of different species and planets. Most were messages of support. Some were offers of help. Others were just people saying they were watching and hoping the dragons would be saved. One message caught his attention. It was from someone named Sejin, and it came from the Galactic Council headquarters. Captain Hyun-woo, this is Representative Sejin of the human delegation to the Galactic Council. The Council is holding an emergency meeting right now. We're watching your situation. Help is on the way. Please hold on. Hope in Hyun-woo's chest grew stronger. The Galactic Council was a government that represented all the different species in known space. If they were involved, that meant the situation had become very important. Vorgath must have received similar information, because his next words sounded angry and desperate. This changes nothing. The drakes are ours by right of capture. We found them first. You have no rights here. A new voice spoke on the channel. It was female and filled with authority. This is Representative Sujin speaking on behalf of the Galactic Council. Celestial drakes are now under council protection as an endangered sentient species. Any attempt to harm them or the humans protecting them will be considered an act of war against the council itself. The council has no authority over independent hunters. Vorgath shouted back. The council just declared emergency protection. Sujin replied calmly. As of 3 minutes ago, hunting celestial drakes is illegal throughout all council space. Surrender now, and you will face trial. Continue, and you will face military response. Hyun-woo felt relief wash over him, but he knew this wasn't over. The Obsidian Claw didn't surrender easily. These were criminals who feared nothing except losing profit. Suddenly, the cave filled with bright light. Celestar was glowing. Her scales shimmered with colors. Hyun-woo had never seen before, like the northern lights of old Earth. The baby dragons gasped and chirped with excitement. Mama! Hope cried out. You're getting better. Celestar slowly, carefully, lifted herself onto her 4 legs. She was still weak, and she wobbled slightly, but she was standing. The glow around her body grew brighter. The human's medicine works better than I expected. Celestar's voice filled Hyun-woo's mind. I can feel my strength returning. Not fully yet, but enough. Enough for what? Hyun-woo asked, both in his mind and out loud. Celestar looked down at him with her golden eyes. Enough to show the galaxy that the celestial drakes are not extinct, that we are not helpless prey, and that we remember those who show us kindness. Before Hyun-woo could ask what she meant, Celestar walked slowly toward the cave entrance. The baby dragons followed close behind her, and Hyun-woo hurried after them. They emerged from the cave onto the crystal surface of the asteroid. Above them, the 7 human ships maintained their defensive positions. The 3 poacher warships circled like hungry predators. And somewhere in space, the entire galaxy was watching through cameras and sensors. Celestar spread her massive wings. Even though she was still injured, even though she should have been too weak to stand, she raised her head high and proud. The glow around her body intensified until she looked like a living star. Then she did something that shocked everyone watching. She released a wave of pure energy that rippled out across space. It wasn't violent or destructive. It was something else entirely, something ancient and powerful. The wave touched the 3 poacher ships, and their engines suddenly went dark. Their weapons powered down. Their shields disappeared. The ships were completely disabled but undamaged. The crews inside were unharmed, just unable to control their vessels. Hyun-woo stared in amazement. Vorgatha's voice came through the communication channel, filled with fear for the first time. What did you do? What are you? Celestar's voice boomed out, not just in Hyun-woo's mind but across all communication channels, reaching every ship and station in the sector. When she spoke, Everyone could hear her. Her voice was ancient and powerful, filled with the wisdom of thousands of years. I am Celestara, matriarch of the celestial drakes. My people have hidden from the galaxy for millennia because we were hunted and betrayed by those we once protected. We watched from the shadows as species rose and fell. We believed that greed and cruelty had consumed all goodness in the universe. She paused, and her golden eyes looked down at Hyunwoo with warmth and gratitude. But today, I witnessed something that changed everything. A human, small and fragile by our standards, gave his own blood to save a dying stranger. He risked his life to protect children that were not his own. He stood against overwhelming odds because it was right, not because it was easy. Hope, Spark, and Shadow gathered around Hyunwoo's legs. He placed his hands on their small heads, feeling their warmth and their trust. Celestar continued speaking to the galaxy, and then more humans came. They were not soldiers. They were not warriors. They were ordinary people living ordinary lives. But when they heard a call for help, they came without hesitation. They placed their ships between danger and innocence. They chose compassion over safety. The glow around Celestar grew even brighter. The celestial drakes had been silent for too long. We withdrew from the galaxy because we lost hope. But today, hope has been returned to us by the most unlikely source. Therefore, let it be known across all worlds and all species, Captain Hyunwoo and his people have earned our eternal gratitude. They are Drake friends, the first in 1,000 generations. At that moment, space around the asteroid began to shimmer. Multiple ships emerged from hyperspace. Large ships, military ships. The Human Alliance Navy had arrived, led by a massive battleship. But they weren't alone. Ships from a dozen other species appeared as well. The Galactic Council had sent a fleet. A new voice spoke on the communication channels. It was strong and commanding. This is Admiral Youngsu of the Human Alliance Navy. Commander Vorgath, you and your crew are under arrest for illegal hunting, attempted murder, and violation of Council protection laws. Surrender immediately. Vorgath had no choice. His ships were disabled. He was surrounded by military vessels, and the entire galaxy had watched him try to kill innocent children. His voice came through the Channel 1 last time, defeated and bitter. We surrender. On the asteroid's surface, Hyunwoo fell to his knees. The stress and fear of the past hours, combined with the blood he had lost, finally caught up with him. The world spun around him. The last thing he felt before darkness took him was Hope's small head pressing against his chest, and Celestara's gentle voice in his mind. Rest now, brave human. You have given us back our lives. We will make sure the galaxy never forgets what you did here today. Then everything went black, and Hyunwoo knew nothing more. Hyunwoo woke up in a medical bay, but it wasn't the one on his ship. This room was much larger and cleaner, with advanced equipment he had never seen before. Soft white lights glowed above him, and he could hear the quiet beeping of monitors tracking his health. He tried to sit up, but his body felt weak. A gentle hand pressed on his shoulder, pushing him back down. He turned his head and saw Jizu sitting beside his bed. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes, but she was smiling. "Welcome back, Captain," she said softly. "You've been sleeping for 2 days." 2 days? Hyunwoo's voice came out rough and dry. Jizu handed him a cup of water, and he drank it gratefully. "What happened? Where am I?" "You're on the Human Alliance medical ship Mercy," Jizu explained. "After Celestar's broadcast, you collapsed. We brought you here. The doctors said you lost too much blood, and your body was exhausted. They've been treating you with the best medicine available." Memories flooded back to Hyunwoo, the dragons, the poachers, the standoff, and Celestar's glowing speech to the galaxy. He grabbed Jizu's arm urgently. "The dragons, are they safe? Are the babies okay?" Jizu's smile grew wider. "They are more than okay. They refused to leave your side for the first day. The doctors finally convinced them to rest in the next room. Hope has been checking on you every hour." As if responding to her name, the door to the medical base suddenly burst open. 3 small dragons rushed in, their claws clicking on the metal floor. Hope reached Hyunwoo's bed first, followed closely by Spark and Shadow. They tried to jump onto the bed, but they were too small to reach it. Hyunwoo laughed. and despite his weakness, he reached down and carefully lifted Hope up onto the bed. Jizu helped him lift Spark and Shadow. The 3 baby dragons immediately curled up against him, purring like giant cats. Their scales were shiny and healthy, and their eyes were bright with happiness. "Papa Hyunwoo," Shadow said, nuzzling his arm. "You're awake. We were so worried." Hyunwoo froze at the word Papa. His eyes filled with tears. These little ones had started calling him their father. He gently stroked their heads, feeling their warmth and their love. "I'm okay, little ones," he said softly. "I'm okay because you are all so brave." "Mama wants to see you," Hope said. "She's been waiting. She's much better now. The doctors here are helping her too." Before Hyunwoo could respond, another figure entered the medical bay. It was a man in a Navy uniform with many medals on his chest. He had gray hair and a kind but serious face. This was Admiral Youngsu. "Captain Hyunwoo," the Admiral said with a respectful nod. "It's an honor to finally meet you. The entire human alliance has been talking about what you did." "I just did what anyone should do," Hyunwoo replied, feeling embarrassed by the attention. "That's where you're wrong," Admiral Youngsu said, sitting down in a chair near the bed. "Most people would have walked away. Some would have called for help and waited safely. You stayed. You gave your own blood. You faced down the obsidian claw with nothing but courage and a medical scanner. That's not what anyone would do. That's what a hero does." Hyunwoo shook his head. "I'm not a hero. I'm just a doctor." "You're both," another voice said from the doorway. A woman in formal diplomatic robes entered. She had short hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. "I'm Representative Sujin. I've been wanting to meet you personally." She pulled up another chair and sat down. "What you did has changed everything. Captain, the Galactic Council has passed new law protecting endangered species. The Obsidian Claw's operations have been shut down across 3 sectors. Dozens of other criminals have been arrested. And most importantly, you've changed how billions of beings across the galaxy think about humans." "What do you mean?" Hyunwoo asked. Sujin smiled. "For years, other species have seen humans as aggressive, territorial, and dangerous. They respected our strength but feared our nature. Now, they've seen something different. They've seen humans rush to help strangers. They've seen humans sacrifice for those who aren't even their own species. Your story has been broadcast on every major network in known space. Children of 100 different species are learning about the human who saved the baby dragons." Spark chirped happily. "We're famous. Everyone knows our names now." Sujin nodded. "It's true. But more than that, your actions have inspired others. We're receiving reports from all over the galaxy. A merchant saved a crashed ship. A soldier defended refugees from pirates. Dozens of species are citing Captain Hyunwoo's example as their reason for helping others." Hyunwoo felt overwhelmed. He had never wanted to be famous. He had just wanted to save a family. Over the next few days, as Hyunwoo recovered his strength, more visitors came. Taeyong brought him updates about their ship, which was being repaired and upgraded by the military as a thank you. Captain Minho and the other civilian pilots who had helped them visited, and they all shared meals together, swapping stories and becoming friends. But the most important visitor came on his 4th day in the medical bay. The doors opened, and Celestara entered. She had to bend her long neck to fit through the doorway, but she moved with grace and power. Her scales gleamed with health, and her golden eyes were bright and alert. She was fully healed. The great dragon approached Hyunwoo's bed and gently touched her forehead to his. He felt warmth spread through his entire body, and Celestara's voice filled his mind. "You gave me your blood to save my life," she said telepathically. "Now, I give you a gift in return. A fragment of Drake essence. You will live longer than normal humans. You will heal faster, and you will always be able to speak with Drake kind through your thoughts." Hyunwoo felt something change inside him. It wasn't painful, just different, like a new sense awakening. "I don't know what to say," he thought back to her. "Say you will continue to be the person you are," Celestara replied. "Say you will continue to show the galaxy that goodness still exists." "I promise," Hyunwoo said, both out loud and in his mind. Celestara stepped back and addressed everyone in the room with a powerful voice. I have searched the hidden places of the galaxy. I have found 12 other Drake families who survived the hunters. We are few, but we are not gone, and we have decided to emerge from hiding. If humans can show such courage and compassion, then perhaps it is time for celestial drakes to trust the galaxy again. Hope, Spark, and Shadow jumped with joy at this news. Other dragons existed. They would have friends and family. But then Hope became quiet. She looked at Hyun-woo with sad eyes. Does this mean we have to leave you, Papa? Celestara's voice was gentle. My children have bonded with you, Hyun-woo. Such bonds are sacred to Drake kind. If you are willing, I ask that you become their guardian while they are young. I must lead my people and search for others who may be hiding. But my children need someone to watch over them, to teach them about the galaxy, and to keep them safe. The 3 baby dragons looked at Hyun-woo with hopeful eyes. How could he say no to those faces? I would be honored, Hyun-woo said, his voice thick with emotion. I will protect them with my life. And so it was decided. Hyun-woo would continue his work as a ship's doctor, but now with 3 young dragons as his family. Jizu and Taeyang agreed to stay with him, forming a crew that would be talked about across the galaxy. 6 months passed. The Horizon's Promise, now upgraded with better engines and equipment, traveled through space on missions of exploration and help. Hope had learned to speak 15 different languages and helped translate for her father. Spark used her growing fire breath to help in the engine room, making repairs faster and easier. Shadow, the quietest one, had become best friends with Taeyang and often sat with him in the pilot's chair. One evening, as they orbited a peaceful planet, Hyun-woo sat on the observation deck with all 3 dragons curled around him. They were bigger now, each one the size of a large wolf, but they still acted like puppies around him. Jizu brought him a datapad showing the latest news feeds. A trader had saved a human colony from starvation. A group of soldiers from 5 different species had worked together to stop smugglers. A young student had started a charity for orphan children across 3 planets. All of them mentioned Hyun-woo's story as their inspiration. Did you really change the whole galaxy just by being kind to us? Hope asked, looking up at him with her wise silver eyes. Hyun-woo smiled and scratched behind her ear ridges, the spot she loved most. I didn't change the galaxy, little one. I just reminded everyone that kindness matters, that protecting the innocent matters. The rest was people choosing to be better. Spark yawned, and small puffs of smoke came from her nostrils. Mama says you're special. She says humans are weird because they care about strangers. Not weird, Shadow corrected quietly. Special. Humans are special because they have big hearts. Through the window, they could see stars stretching in every direction. Out there, somewhere, Celestar was leading the celestial drakes back into the light. Out there, beings of 100 different species were learning that compassion was stronger than cruelty. And here, on a small ship flying through the infinite dark, a human doctor had found what he thought he'd lost forever. A family, a purpose, and hope. The galaxy had always wondered what made humans dangerous. They had seen human weapons and human determination. But that day on the crystal asteroid, the galaxy learned the truth. Humans weren't dangerous because they could destroy. They were dangerous because they refused to let the innocent suffer. They were dangerous because they made others believe in goodness again. And hope, as every civilization eventually learned, was the most powerful force in the universe.